Hi, it's me, the Avatar, Sugar and Spice. My real name is Denise. I don't know how you don't know by now, but if you don't, it's Denise. Anyway, so this is the second installment of my Spooktober Halloween series where I get to talk about shit that genuinely scares me. Ever since my spiritual awakening and the subsequent Dark Night of the Soul, which is like the period where you're super confused and like crying because you're like, I don't know what the fuck is happening to me. Ever since that period of my life, I'm kind of really hard to impress. I'm a little like difficult to get shook, to be completely honest. So for this Halloween, since it's my favorite time of the year, besides my birthday, I wanted to talk about shit that actually genuinely scares me. So I talked about demonic possessions because that was like a really real thing for me during my awakening. I genuinely thought I was possessed and I was really scared. So I wanted to know what the fuck is going on. Um, and in this installment, I'm going to be talking about curses and hexes, what they are, what they're not, etc., etc. Um, and yeah, I channeled the Akashic Records with full disclosure. Between myself and the records, I was like, hey, this conversation is going to be published. So, help me out. Make sure that it's in terms that are helpful for everyone to understand, no matter whether you're just beginning your spiritual journey or just curious about it, or if you're like deep in it. I wanted this to be accessible and helpful to people, so hopefully it is. Book a tarot reading with me. I promise I'm really good at it, and I will get you the answers that you need. Book an Akashic session with me. I love that shit. I love playing in the records. It's like my favorite part of my job is playing in the records. Um, and I teach tarot. I teach the beginner level babies. So if you're a person that is just starting your journey with tarot and you want a healthy foundation of how to connect with your intuition and intuitively read the cards, beyond memorizing, the specific messages, come to your girl. I'm really good at it. And as well as intermediates. So if you already know the meanings of the cards and you're pretty good at reading for yourself, you're maybe already reading for other people, but you're not like full-time practitioner yet, come to me. I got you. I know exactly how to level you up and boost up that confidence and deepen your connection to source as a lifestyle, not even just like through tarot. Like I'll level up your tarot because I'll level up your life. And I'm not saying that from like an ego space. I'm saying that from like a soul space. Like that is what I'm good at. That is what I came here to do, and I'm doing it. Anyway, all right, great. So let's talk about curses and hexes. Woo. Man, I wish I had sound effects like the thriller laugh in the back and stuff like that. That would fucking smack. So if you're a video editor, and you can make like really corny like sound effects, DM me because I want that for I want that for me. I want that for myself. Anyway, great. Okay, so if you see me looking off to the side, it's because like when I channel, the information comes really fast, so I write it down. So I'm reading straight off of it. But all right, curses and hexes. Number one, do curses and hexes exist? If so, what are they? Here is the answer as per dictated by the Akashic Records. Yes, both of them exist. We can safely assign the following definitions for purposes of this video content. Curses are spell works either earned or imposed upon a person, their belongings, their environment, or family lineage. Curses are not manifested in the absence of a generator, meaning a curse is a conscious effort from one person, one living being, to another charged with malicious intent. A curse is meant to be prolonged and harmful to another being. A hex is similar in that both are conscious actions. The difference is that a hex may just be a verbal cue or ill wish. It need not require spell or ritual work in order to have the desired negative effects. It is enough for a person to wish ill on another verbally for the hex to take effect. A hex can be placed upon a person consciously or unconsciously by way of envy or jealousy. If verbalized, it can take effect, but even if not verbalized, it may manifest though much weaker than one vocalized. So a person that low-key hexes you may not even know that they're hexing you. That's kind of like the difference. Number 2, how can you tell if you've been hexed or cursed? Look, I'm low-key popular out there in the social media world. I'm not like huge, but I'm big enough to where like I'm scared of hater energy. So I needed to know. And here's what I got. One can take note of any uncharacteristic symptoms, such as sudden bouts of depression, anxiety, or consistent circumstances that are unfortunate and seem out of the ordinary. To properly discern between misfortune and actual malicious intent, one must maintain an active self awareness. By remaining self aware, one may more easily note any behavioral, or environmental changes that may negatively affect them as a result of an attempted hex or curse. Many physical signs will follow the attempt as well, both from angels, warning the victim of the existence of ill intentions, and from the residual impact of the spell work as well, such as illness or hair falling out in clumps. Loss of appetite and general feelings of misguidedness and apathy are warning signs as well. Dead animals near a home will often signal malicious magic conducted nearby. That's a big one. Dead animals near your home, kind of a big, ring the alarm type of deal. So number 3, how can you break an existing curse and hex? Prayer is enough to break even the most powerful curse and hex. Recite your favorite protection Bible verses or something. Recite your favorite protection psalms and light candles for your preferred deities and saints. All angels and pleas for godly assistance are immediately answered. A meditative practice will help speed up the processes of negative energy removal as well. In extreme cases in which a person subconsciously prevents the lifting of the curse by being so deeply rooted in fear, then divine signals will lead them to experience healers who may provide tangible and, in their mind's eye, more believable removals of this energy. Shamanic healers, root workers, and even some Reiki practitioners may be consulted to remove this energy. Again, all are tools of healing, but prayer is most powerful. Any treatment you choose must be followed up consistently with prayer. For purposes of this video content, we will define prayer as vocalized communication between a living being and a higher being of choice. Prayer may also mean repetition of mantras affirming their own safety, guidance, and protections, such as, "Thank you, God, for wrapping me in your impenetrable protective embrace." That's a good one. I'm going to start using that one. But yeah, that can be a form of prayer too, just affirming yourself throughout your day. Just saying, "I am always divinely guided and protected." And that'll help, is what they're saying. Okay. How can one protect themselves and prevent curses and hexes from affecting them? One must strive to maintain an elevated lifestyle where lower vibrational persons and behaviors cannot affect them. Strive to keep a meditative practice, work to preserve nature, and nature will be kind to you in return. Help an animal in need, and the animal will return its kindness in the form of a pure blanket of gratitude to protect you. Working with minerals such as salt and crystals strategically placed within homes or even in pockets of your clothing will amplify your naturally existing protective aura. Your soul is always working to conserve itself, whether the living being knows it or not. It amplifies in power by 100-fold once a living being consciously takes protective measures, such as the aforementioned suggestions, and even easier ones, such as visualizations of light barriers and, again, prayers. Visualize protective barriers twice a day. Pray repeatedly as needed, and in this manner, your energetic and auric fields become increasingly impenetrable over time. A person with strong and consistent meditative practices are basically impossible to hex and curse because they maintain a bright, radiant bubble of love and compassion. This is Christ light in action. When a person embodies the mercy and love of Christ light, no harm comes to such person. Ew, I love it. It sounds like being a good person kind of ensures your safety. Ooh, a concept. All right, number 5. Are curses passed on to our loved ones? In rare cases, in the most wicked and vindictive cases, yes. Remember, curses require work with malicious intent. If the cursor sees no effect on the desired person and their rage is not satisfied, it is possible for them to move on to loved ones of their intended victim. Hexes hardly are ever conscious and so rarely are passed on to anyone other than the intended. In the event that this occurs, again, seek a professional healer and pray for the cursor to be bathed in Christ energy. Pray for their ascension and salvation. It is impossible to hurt another when all you see is unison. Um, anyway, for y'all watching, in case there's a cut in the video, just know that my little brother decided to call in the middle of my video, so I had to stop. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and do the thing. All right, so the question was, how can one protect themselves and prevent curses and hexes from affecting them? One must strive to maintain an elevated lifestyle where lower vibrational persons and behaviors cannot affect them. Strive to keep a meditative practice, work to preserve nature, and nature will be kind to you in return. Help an animal in need, and the animal will return the kindness in the form of a pure blanket of gratitude to protect you. Working with minerals such as salt and crystals strategically placed within homes or even in pockets of your clothing will amplify your naturally existing protective aura. Your soul is always working to conserve itself, whether the living being knows it or not. It amplifies in power by 100-fold once a living being consciously takes protective measures, such as the aforementioned suggestions, and even easier ones, such as visualizations of light barriers and again prayers. Visualize protective barriers twice a day. Pray repeatedly as needed, and in this manner, your energetic and auric fields become increasingly impenetrable over time. A person with strong and consistent meditative practices are basically impossible to hex and curse because they maintain a bright, radiant bubble of love and compassion. This is Christ light in action. When a person embodies the mercy and love of Christ light, no harm comes to such person. So, have a relationship with God and you're good. Anyway, are curses passed on to our loved ones? In rare cases, in the most wicked and vindictive cases, yes. Remember, curses require work with malicious intent. If the cursor sees no effect on the desired person and their rage is not satisfied, it is possible for them to move on to loved ones of their intended victim. Hexes hardly are ever conscious and so rarely are passed on to anyone other than the intended. In the event that this occurs, again, seek a professional healer and pray for the cursor to be bathed in Christ energy. Pray for their ascension and salvation. It is impossible to hurt another when all you see is unison. When this is not possible, you may energetically choose to return it to its original sender by way of mirror work or simple prayer. Mercy is a choice. If you cannot find forgiveness, return it to the sender and pray for the energy to return to its place of origin, never to reach you or your loved ones again. Repeat as needed. Use candles to petition the appropriate angels, saints, or deities of choice. This is a sensitive topic for me a little bit because, I've personally had to make that choice when I became aware of, certain energy being sent my way from a certain someone that's a jealous ass bitch. And that was when I chose what kind of avatar I was going to be. When Aang in The Last Airbender catches the lightning from Fire Lord Ozai, and instead of redirecting it back towards Ozai, he redirects it to the sky because Aang doesn't believe in violence. He's an air nomad. He's a monk and he believes in the unison. So he was like, fuck, like even though all the avatars before him killed their aggressor, Aang was like, I don't want to kill. I don't want to end anybody's life. That's not the kind of avatar I want to be. That was me. That was when I got to decide, what kind of avatar I was going to be in the narrative of my life, in the cartoon that is my life. And, I chose mercy. I chose mercy and I kept the energy, except that I asked for it to be transmuted into something useful for me. And man, I bet that bitch is mad now, because it actually accelerated my ascension, because there was so much rage behind it that I was like, can I use it to make my manifestations go faster? Can I grow my business faster? Like, realistically, what can I do to benefit from this rage that's being sent my way? And the Akashic records were like, ¿por qué no los dos? And I was like, eh. So anyway, if you choose to return it to sender, that's totally your prerogative. I'm just letting y'all know the choice that I made. I didn't return it to sender. I asked for it to become something I could use. And I did, and it was wonderful, and it's great, and I'm living my best life now. So just throwing out there my 2 cents. Anyway, this one's really good. Are ancestral curses a real thing? If so, can they be broken? No. Ancestral curses are not a real thing, apparently. Thus far, all questions have had some truth to them except this one. Ancestral curses are not real. A curse cannot affect an entire lineage just because one individual or a group of individuals wishes it to be so. If that were true, many Anglo-Saxon persons in the world would never see an ounce of wealth or success, and yet it is the opposite. I'm going to read that one more time. Ancestral curses are not real. A curse cannot affect an entire lineage just because one individual or a group of individuals wishes it to be so. If that were true, many Anglo-Saxon persons in the world would never see an ounce of wealth or success, and yet it is the opposite. T. Anyway, the reason this does not work is because over time, the curse energy expires and becomes weak. Remember, hexes, even when unconscious, are only as present as the thought or feeling that manifested them is. A person cannot be in a permanent state of jealousy, therefore, over time, it weakens and expires. A curse is similar in that it does not take one singular act of maliciousness to curse a person. Like blessings, it requires repetition and faith to carry out the intent of a curse. Therefore, a curse must be repeated over and over and over again for the curse to last. Ancestral curses would require the generator of the curse to live forever, consistently concentrated on the downfall of a lineage, and the truth is, no one has that kind of capacity for malice. So no, your ancestral line is not cursed. Perhaps some members of your lineage were at one point cursed, sure, but that dissipated at the expiration of the curser. Now, what can happen is that the lesson in the circumstance that led to curse work can be repeated. If racism was a reason for curse work, then subsequent descendants of such group must be extra mindful not to partake in racist behavior, save they encounter the same circumstance and are cursed yet again. Failing to learn the lesson of unity, the descendants will carry the challenge of this lesson until someone finally learns it and demonstrates such knowledge in practical applications, thus liberating the lineage of that specific lesson and moving on to another. Lessons may be passed on, but negative energy will weaken with time or with the demise of its generator. That was a whole lot of fucking tea that honestly I was not ready for, and when I channeled it, I was like, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I'm Mexican as fuck. So, my people of color out there, I know you felt that shit in your chest. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say on the topic. I know you fucking felt that in your chest. Anyway, what are the consequences of hexing or cursing someone? You always run the risk of it being returned to you. Should a person not choose mercy and return the negative energy to you, be certain that it will find you no matter what you do to guard against this. You are far more susceptible to a curse than you are intended because you are its creator. Everything you create returns to you. It is a universal law and it can be witnessed in all of nature. Even if the intended does not return it to you consciously, because it is a universal law, you will see such consequences manifest for you too. This is not punishment nor condemnation. It is simply the laws of the universe. What you give, you always get. If moving forward with a curse, remember, only make it as powerful as you are willing to experience yourself, because you will experience it for yourself. We do not condone nor warn against this. We do not discuss morality. We discuss the truth, verified data. Factually, a curse and hex will always be returned to its generator. There has never been an instance in which it has not, and there never will be. Proceed any way you wish to with this information. The choice is always yours to behold. Well, that shook me and had me quaking in my little boots. The Akashic Records, this was such a great session for me to channel because I was fucking shook. Like, I was not expecting them to go off on white people the way they did, but they did, and not an ounce of lie was detected at all. So can we even be mad at them? No, they said what they said. And then that last one where it's like, we don't discuss morality, like we don't give a fuck if it's right or wrong. We're not going to do that dance. We're just letting you know what you give, you will get in return. Period. They said period, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta start acting a little more correct then. Not that I don't act correct, but like my rage be flying off the fucking handle sometimes. So maybe I'm like, that explains a lot. Anyway, not to continue my news, but as always, I hope that this information was entertaining, that it satisfied your curiosity, that it was helpful to you, etc., etc. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, book me for tarot readings, become my tarot student, get your own Akashic tea, your own Akashic session. It's a great time. And yeah, have a happy Halloween. Everybody be safe and take care. Bye.